interesting.
I love your browser history.
I like that you're not hiding anything from me.
By the way, nice IP address. I like your neighborhood.
You are so special. This ad is just for you.
I learned so many things from you.
You are so generous.
With your personal data.
Switch on privacy, switch off trackers and viruses. Go to nordvpn.com. NordVPN. Safely be you.
Arsenal 3, Nottingham Forest 0. The Gunners absolutely destroyed Ange Postecoglou's men today. Whether it be the eye test, the score line, the statistics, every single metric, they were by far and away the better team. We're going to delve into it now live on the Football Terrace. So make sure you've hit like buttons. Make sure you are subscribing. And a big shout out to our title sponsors, NordVPN. You should not be using the internet without a VPN provider. In fact, the Football Terrace lost its official Twitter account. We've appealed to get it back because somebody logged into it without using the VPN. The password got compromised and it got hacked. Literally happened this week to the business because somebody wasn't using NordVPN. You can sign up now. You can scan the QR code on the screen that you see in the bottom corner down there, or you can click on the link in our live chat or in the description below. Get yourself signed up now. It's an amazing and an important product to make sure you browse safely online with a VPN. But what it also enables you to do, sign up to things like Setanta Sport, so you can legally, without without piracy streaming, and without the kind of ads. When you go onto the websites that stream games the wrong way, you get all the ads and pop-ups. They are full of hackers. They are full of Trojans. They are full of viruses that damage your computer and compromise your personal information. On Setanta Sports, you can see the leagues, Premier League, Champions League, and much, much more is available there for as little as $3.99 a month. Plus, all the 3 p.m. games are available. So get signed up to NordVPN, scan the QR code, get that done right about now. But look, Arsenal today were just majestic. They were majestic. They were a joy to watch. And I thought there was such an overreaction after the Liverpool game. Too negative. There's no way they're going to win. I feel that Arsenal had a very hard start to the season. Just one home game against Leeds where they won comfortably, and 2 very tough away games. They won one and they lost one. But this is a team now sitting top of the league, 3 wins from 4. The only defeat, a narrow defeat away at the champions Liverpool. 9 goals scored, the most in the league. 1 goal conceded, 3 clean sheets, no goals conceded from open play. Phenomenal start to the season by Arsenal. Objectively speaking, it has been a phenomenal start to the season, there's no doubt. We're going to talk some of the players as well on this show because Madueke, we've got to ask a question. Were we all wrong to doubt it? The Gooners that lost their mind, that basically wanted to burn their club down, will they come out and apologize? Or is it too soon to say that the doubt surrounding Madueke was wrong? What isn't too soon is to congratulate him on his performance. Zubimendi today demonstrating why everyone who knows football as a rival was worried about him joining Arsenal. As Arsenal fans out there, they were buzzing because they know the qualities this man possesses. And Gyökeres today, listen, he can't always make them themselves. You create 1 or 2 chances a game like he got today, the man's going to score 30-plus elite goals. He's deadly. He was in the right position at the right time, and they got the job done. But look, I want your views. I want your opinions. Make sure like buttons have been hit if you haven't done so already, people. Really, really important to the Football Terrace that you get that done for us right now. Let's get this past 1,000 likes ASAP. Over 2,000 people watching at this stage of the live stream. So get the like button hit. Get yourselves sharing the stream across your social media platforms as well. A comment here from Matteo says, send Chelsea another 10 million. But Arsenal, they looked dangerous today. The football was beautiful. They were dominant. If you want to look at the statistics of this game, they tell you, sometimes stats don't tell you the full story of a game, but they had the majority of the ball. They had all the XG. They had 16 shots to Forest 5 on target versus Forest 1. They created 5 big chances in the game. That's really significant, okay? The only maybe negative for Arsenal is they missed 4 of those 5 big chances today, which I think would be frustrating in some regard. It really was a 4-5-6-0 performance overall, but they dominated the game in every single facet, whether it be physical, passing, chance creation. They were so much better than Nottingham Forest today. And Arsenal demonstrated why they're in this title race. Arsenal demonstrated why they're a serious outfit. And one thing that really stood out is the strength in depth. Declan Rice rested because the Champions League football starts. Saliba out injured, Saka out injured, and I'm going to forget some names. But you're bringing on Martinelli's and Trossards with 5 to 10 minutes to go. Eze in the team, Madueke in the team, Gyökeres, Zubimendi, Norgard. I think he might be another name that's out injured, not in and around the team. Mascara coming in and looking like he's played in the Premier League for a decade. The recruitment from Arsenal this summer has been amazing. It's given them an improved first 11, and the strength in depth is still there. And what Arsenal did today, and we're going to get into the individuals and why they're so dangerous in a moment, but what Arsenal did today, which I think is so potent, so worrying, so concerning for rivals, is that they killed the game off in a way last year they used to drop points. 21 points from winning positions last season. That was the difference between Arsenal finishing so far off the top as they did. That was the difference between Liverpool and Arsenal last season. It was Liverpool would kill games off and or hang on. Arsenal were collapsing and throwing away leads, drawing, 14 odd games. Not losing too many matches, but not winning enough. And today you saw the difference. And that difference isn't the coaching, isn't the training, isn't the system. That's all been fine. They've added better quality players and more strength in depth. Last season, if Saliba, last season, if Saka were out, last season, if Declan Rice had to be rested, last season, if there was no Jorginho on the bench because he was out, Arsenal would have struggled. If the first 11 couldn't make it work, if they couldn't score from a set piece, they would struggle. Did they have the killers in their team? Could they? By the way, Kai Havertz is out as well. That's who I forgot. Kai Havertz is out as well. If all those players were out last year and then Odegaard had to go off early, they were in trouble. This season, it's going to be different. And this is why, yes, you shouldn't just ignore what happened last year, but you have to look at the root cause reasons that they had a drop-off last season because the recruitment wasn't good enough and the strength in depth wasn't there. Today, you saw a difference with Eze starting on the left-hand side, looking very dangerous. Victor Gyökeres, we've mentioned, didn't get involved as much in the game as Arsenal would have liked, but when he did, he was very good. Some great layoffs, some great physical moves. The goal is just such an important part of his game. He'll be in the right position for those types of balls. Does Martinelli find him with that pass? Probably not. You've got someone like Eze there who's going to find him more regularly than Martinelli, in my personal opinion. Brilliant. Zubimendi in the middle. Forget his goals from him, which we'll touch on. Zubimendi in the middle was just phenomenal. The dictating of the play, the partnership with Marino. He's getting to grips with the tempo of the Premier League and the strength of it. But his ability on the ball shone through today. Then there's the goals. I mean, the man's only got 12 club goals in his whole career. And two of them, I don't know whether it's 12 including today or 12 plus today's 2, but 12 goals in your club career and then 2 in one game. That's what can happen when you go to a better football club. But his first goal was just Paul Scholes-esque. On the volley, edge of the box. Yes, a slight nick off a defender as it was going through. But it was a phenomenal strike. And what a great wonder goal. Crazy considering Arsenal missed 2 really simple, easy, big chances prior to that. And then you score a screamer, but that's football for you. The second goal from Zubimendi, excellent cross from Trossard at the back post, attacking that ball. Gets his head onto it. Again, a very slight deflection off the defender, but into the top corner. And I think the game was over at that point anyway. Forest, they couldn't do anything to Arsenal, really. But that just killed it off. Then you had, and we'll get on to Madueke in a moment, actually, but the goal from Gyökeres early in the second half and that later goal from Zubimendi just didn't happen enough last campaign. That was because of a lack of quality and a lack of strength in depth. Simple and as straightforward as that. That is why it is not a crazy prediction to say, I think Arsenal are going to pick up anywhere between 15 to 20 more points this campaign. Not because Liverpool are going to fall off or this bad thing's going to happen, just because they're going to play the way they did last year, barely be troubled, but they're going to kill games off. When you kill games off, you're then less susceptible for that late counter-attack goal that suddenly takes 2 points away, or all 3 points away, or even, they had games where they were drawing and, oh my God, they lose. When you kill teams off, it just takes their fight and their resolve away. And it's so important for Arsenal Football Club to do that. And on Noni Madueke, I need to speak about this man, because when Arsenal signed him, I laughed at it and said, I don't get it. I don't understand it. All the other recruitment made sense to me. From Norgard, Gyökeres, Eze, Hankupe, all these players, they made sense. I got why Arsenal did them. But I looked at Noni Madueke and I thought, surely there's better options out there. And I'm not suggesting my mind has completely changed, but I'm open to it. And I say that because I'm looking there and I'm thinking, would Chelsea regret this? Now, I know straight away Chelsea fans are already losing their minds once they've heard that. Gone, no, we've got Esteval Palmer, we don't need him. I'm not saying your team is going to be hindered by the sale of Madueke. You've bought very good players. But could you regret letting Arsenal get him? There's a dichotomy and a difference in that question. And if you're emotionally unstable, if you're a child, you're going to really struggle to have an honest conversation about it. But for me, I think they might. I think they could. Now, as I've said, my mind isn't completely changed on Madueke, but I'm open to it. But I watched him in the first game, and I remember being in one of my group chats saying, he was really good today. Every Chelsea fan in there, especially the likes of Don and the like, no, what did he do? He did what you asked from Saka when Saka ain't getting GA. He was a constant threat. We saw him for England. We saw him against Liverpool, and it's still getting played down by people. He wasn't good against Liverpool. He was dangerous. He was a threat. For England, brilliant in both games. Today, outstanding. The amount of times entries into the box, the dribbles, the duels that he won, the fear that he put into Forest. I think 5 chances he created in the game, more than any other player on the football pitch. To put that into context, no other player on the pitch created more than 1 chance today. He created 5. 14 crosses in the game. Yes, only 4 of them are accurate. Some of them were good crosses, but they were just well defended. You can't blame him for all of them. But that to put it into context, he attempted more crosses than every other player for both teams on the pitch combined, because he got himself into those positions. And that's what you want from a wide player. And I think that the more you get him doing that, the more eventually you're going to get from the likes of Eze coming inside and Gyökeres in the middle, because they are very good, by the way, Forest, at clearing crosses into the box. They're built for that. It's what they're trained to do for 3 years, and they've got excellent defenders at doing that. But I thought that Noni Madueke today was genuinely, I thought it was out of this world. I thought it was out of this world with that performance. Zubimendi, a shining light. Gyökeres, I've already mentioned, did some good hold-up play, decent performance, but this is what he's going to do. You create him those chances, he'll score. I was actually took my son football this morning and was talking to a gooner over there. Hope you're good, Tossin, if you're watching, bro. And we were talking about this, and I was saying, I think Gyökeres will come good for you. You just need to create him chances. He'll score 5 to 10 goals across all comps this season, like against Leeds, where he kind of self-creates, especially as games open up. But what he does need from Madueke and from Eze and Trossard, Saka when he's in the team, he needs those cutbacks. When you look at the amount of goals that the top strikers score, the top inside forwards score, so many of them are tap-ins at the back post, one-on-ones, tap-ins. It's not stat padding because it's a great team goal and positioning is important. You saw the opportunity Rice had where Rice hesitated and then missed the ball. A great bit of play by Madueke and Timber. Gyökeres would have been there because he would have anticipated, because he's got that goal scorer's instinct, the ball would come there. And midfielders don't do that as well. That's part of the reason they're midfielders. Scoring goals is the hardest skill in football. And you can prove this because look at all the amazing skills people can do, the step overs and drag backs and Cruyff turns and around the worlds and whatever they're called. But you could go walk around England today, and I bet you could find 5,000 people that can do those skills proficiently. You can't go around the world and find more than 20 people, maybe not even more than 10 people, that genuinely could score over 20 league goals in the Premier League as a number 9. Definitely not less than 10 or 20 people that can score 25 league goals in the Premier League. Scoring goals is harder than all the tricks and skills and flicks in the world. And it's provable because there's more people that can there's more pro footballers that can do the flicks and the tricks than can score goals at that level. It's an unadulterated fact. It can't be debated. There's no debate about it. It's the hardest skill around. And Arsenal have got to create for him. I also feel another player that deserves a massive shout out today as well is Mosquera. Saliba's out injured. Again, you didn't notice. You didn't notice who this kid is. You didn't notice that he was there, and that is perfect for a defender. Brilliant positioning, excellent strength, fantastic ability on the ball. And look, there are players I'm probably going to end up not praising here that other Arsenal fans in the comment section will, and that's fine. But I just looked at Arsenal today, and it was been a long-standing belief of mine they're going to be in this title race. I think with Arsenal, every time there's a bump in the road, there is this massive overreaction of, that's it, title race done. It's the third game. Doesn't matter. That is why we won't do it. There is not enough body of work with this new squad, with not the new squad, but with this strength and depth to rewriting this season off in game week 3. It doesn't help your club, in my opinion, in any way, shape, or form. And even when you look at Madueke, the one signing in summer that most Arsenal fans weren't sure about or weren't happy with, he's delivering. Your new signings look like, of all so far, look like they've hit the ground running and are integrating straight away, which is what a brilliant sporting director does because they understand how you're playing and they help identify the right players for that system. And I still think you're going to get better from this point. Fantastic from Arsenal today. Brilliant from the likes of Madueke, Zubimendi, Gyökeres. Give me your views. Give me your opinions in the comment section below. But get that like button hit right now. But Arsenal today, I really do feel like saying they finally, I think, arrived this season in the Premier League, and they made a massive, massive splash. Let's go to some of your comments here. I'm going to just timestamp the super chat part now before we bring our panel out to speak on this. If you haven't hit that like button yet, though, people, please get that done right now. We want to go past 1,000 likes whilst we are live. First super chat of the day here. Why are they not coming up on my screen? That's frustrating. Hopefully they will in a second, and then I'll put them up. Here we go. They're not all. Why they're not all coming up? But yeah, here's one that says Madueke on fire and fire needs consistency. Mosquera is a top defender. Gyökeres will score 20 plus Premier League goals. Eze showed a bit of magic. Good day overall. Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's the thing with Madueke. Can he do this consistently? It's a genuine question to ask. He had really good games for Chelsea. But so far, life at Arsenal's been good for him. And I know we live in this weird world now where people say, I don't like a player and there's nothing they can do to change my mind. Those people are kind of performative and rage baiting when they say that. But there is no Arsenal fan who truly loves their football club that can't have their mind changed about a player. That player starts to deliver. If Madueke does this on a regular basis, and by the way, there'll be games where he isn't good. But Messi had games where he wasn't good. So don't use one bad game as a reason to go, see, I told you. It's ridiculous. It's nonsense. The same as I'm not going to sit there after 2 or 3 good games and go, I was wrong about this. It's the best signing Arsenal have ever made. I'm not quite there yet. That being said, he was fantastic today. Zubimendi, complete midfield player. Yeah, Zubimendi was out of this. Genuinely, Zubimendi was out of this world today. He was absolutely out of this world today. He truly, truly was. And I think that I think a lot of people underestimated how good this signing was going to be. How good this signing was going to be. And over the course of 50 plus games this season, over the course of the coming years, whilst he plays for Arsenal, the Gunners are going to see the benefit of that massively. Phenomenal football player on every single level. This here says Mosquera is a bargain. I'm not going to lie to you. I never really heard of him until Arsenal got linked with him. As I said on the transfer videos about it, what I read sounded amazing. What I read sounded absolutely brilliant. And I think that the fact that he's come straight into the Prem, he's adapted this quickly. And it does take players time sometimes. In fact, we've got a super chat here that says the notion that when players come to the Premier League, they always take time to adapt is nowadays is not always true. Look at players like Zubi, Gyökeres, Haaland, Ekitike, Isak when he came, and more. Your opinion. And not every player does need time. And some players, but that's not just today. I mean, that's happened before. Yap Stam came straight into the Prem and was the best centre-back in the league that year and one of the best centre-backs every season after that, as an example. There have been many a times where players have come in and straight away been brilliant, straight away been excellent. There are players, though, that have taken 6 months. There are players that have taken a season. I think the issue here, Henry, is that everybody wants to depend. If you don't like the player, you judge them straight away. If you love the player, you might give them too long. You see, there's very little objectivity and balance from people now when it comes to assessing football. It's this notion of, no, see, one game's enough for me. Not giving them time. When there's a body of work over 30, 40, 50 years to show that a lot of international players need time. Equally, some can hit the ground running. But what we can't do is take Zubimendi hitting the ground running and use it as the benchmark and the standard and go, everyone has to do it or they're crap. Because life doesn't work in that way. We've got to stop pushing for this monolithic approach where every player at every club in every scenario is judged in the same way. It's ridiculous. And Arsenal fans go, no, that's the standard of my club. But you're a liar. Because I know that social media didn't exist, but it took the likes of Bergkamp and Henry time to settle. And I just don't believe that what you were doing in the ground or at home with your mum and dad back in that era was going, he's shit, Bergkamp shit, one game in, he's shit, get rid of him. You weren't doing that. It's a social media thing. It's a social media thing to be, you might not rate the player and you might say, look, I just don't get him. That isn't writing them off the one bad performance. That's saying I don't really rate the player. There's a fundamental difference in those two things. But that's just me. Arsenal are a strong squad now, and signing Gyökeres shows they are going to the wire this season. You see the squad depth. Yeah, you did see that today, Ray. You're absolutely spot on. You could see that squad depth with the players that were out, the players they rested, and then the subs were made, and you're sitting there and thinking, God, they're bringing, like, Martinelli and Trossard were starting games last year when there was a couple of injuries. Now they're coming on for some minutes in their legs and to rest some players ahead of a Champions League game whilst there's injuries. If the likes of Saka and Kai Havertz were fit, they wouldn't have touched the pitch today. They wouldn't have touched the pitch. In fact, if Odegaard didn't have to come off injured, one of the two may not have touched the pitch because Waneri would have probably come on anyway. So, look, I think Arsenal's strength in depth now is massive and it's going to pay huge dividends for them. It really, really is. Guna plays here. There's 3 goals already for Gyökeres, top scorer, and he isn't fully adjusted to the Prem. What you'll hear at the moment is, Terry, you probably owe some of the pundits an apology. And I'm going to say, oh, why? Well, they told you he'd score against the small teams and not the big teams. It's a very small sample size. But I've seen the best strikers in the world, both domestically and internationally, go away to Anfield and away to Old Trafford and not have good games and be stopped and not score goals. This is where, to Henry's super chat earlier about some players adapt straight away, yes. But there are players that have been in the Prem 5 years, or have always played in the Prem. Brilliant players that can go away from home to a top ground and not score a goal or not have a good game. Doesn't mean you just suddenly write them off or they've become bad. That's football. It happens. It happens and it will happen again. Ronaldo and Messi at their peak had games where they were stopped and nullified. And they're the 2 greatest attackers of a generation and maybe in history. So I look at Gyökeres. I think the way people have been writing him off and talking about him, I think is wrong. I think some Arsenal fans, again, we're all guilty of this. I call it the fantasy effect. Now, you young men, especially you young men, you might, have some fantasies you think about a lot at home in your bedroom. You might be texting a young lady that you like, consensually, of course, and all above the age of 18. And you're like, oh, we're meeting up. And it's going to be fun. Oh, you're going to do this. Oh, I'm going to do that. And I'm going to do this. And both of you are probably over-egging your ability a little bit, right? We've all been there. We've all done it. Yeah, I'll last an hour and I'm going to do this to you. By the way, I'm talking here about like cooking and playing games here. I don't know what you're thinking of, you swines. But you build up these fantasies. And then the reality comes and you can often be like, it's not very good, is it? And this is, on a psychology level, this is why people that commit certain crimes end up repeating them again and again, because they fantasize about committing those crimes, but the reality of doing them never actually fulfills the fantasy. The fantasy is always better, so it pushes them on to do it again and again and again and again and again. And we do this in football. We got a guy that scored 90 odd goals in 100 plus games in Portugal. Oh, he's just going to score. So then when there's a game where he's nullified, your brain goes, oh, hang on a minute. This isn't what my fantasy told me. My fantasy told me he was going to score every goal, every game, all the time. And even Haaland, when he broke that goal scoring record year one, he'd have games where he didn't score. And then he might have a game where he got a brace and then didn't score. And then he might get 4 goals and then he'd get 2 goals and then 1 goal and then 1 goal. And then he'd go a couple of games without scoring. It's normal. But we create these weird fantasies in our own mind. We do it on every level, but we do it about everything. And I know you men do weird stuff. You know what I mean? How many of you have walked over a bridge and seen a train going underneath it and gone, I could land on that. I could land on that. Men think like that. We create mad fantasies in our heads. Don't actually try it because you're going to die, right? You ain't landing. You ain't James Bond, and James Bond is not real. But we create these fantasies in our minds sometimes, and then we live in them. And then we judge people on these fantasies that aren't real. I know that the honest ones there are sitting there going, yeah, I kind of do that. We do. Oh, I thought this night out with my friends was going to be great, but he's made it boring. Well, no, you just thought it was going to be better than it is. He ain't done nothing wrong. It's you. Your head's wrong. But there we go. Hey, Terry, Zubimendi is a true controller. His goals were brilliant, and Arsenal will no longer have that energy problem. They are ready to win the league. What was excellent from Arsenal today is killing the game off as well and taking players off. The more you can... Last season, you were fighting until the last minute with the amount of points you were dropping. That knackers your legs later in the season as well. Today, it's only 4 games in. We're at the fledgling stage of a season, but so important to be able to rest players and control games, as you say. O'Malley here says only 4 or 5 real starters from last season started this game. Let's let this team build. Mosquera was a steal. Having threat on both wings goes a long way. Oh, it certainly does. It certainly does. And you were putting 50 to 60% of your attacks down the right. But what that was then doing was leaving Eze free. And there was a few times that the ball got put into Eze in a bit of space, and I thought his first touch was a little off. Got shots away, but the first touch being a little bit off just maybe stopped him getting that extra half a yard. And that'll get better in time. I think maybe there was a little nerves in there for a talented player. But yeah, excellent. Mosquera is an absolute steal. Thank you, Berta. P here says, Mosquera, 21 years old. Oh, my word. Yeah, honestly, I didn't notice him playing. And I mean that in the positive way that it's meant to sound. He looks like he's been there 10 years. 21 years of age. What a signing. What a signing that looks to be. You know, some of you might disagree. Some of you may agree with it. But for me, that just looks like an absolutely phenomenal piece of business from Arsenal Football Club. No doubt about that whatsoever. Has a one-on-one for Saliba. It's crazy. He's a one-on-one for Saliba. Yeah, he is. He is. And look, it's positive. If Saliba's out injured, you're fine. If he maintains this. If Saliba decides to go, you're fine. If he maintains this. That's what it's all about. It's all about that. Plus, you've still got like Waneri and Miles Lewis-Skelly and Dowman. Who are not even thinking about those players right now. We're not thinking about it on this stream. And yeah, Arsenal are in a very nice space right now. They really are. Delroy here says, facts, big up yourself. Terry Bond. I know we all think things like that. People like to pretend they don't, but it's normal. It's normal. Ali McCoy says, I've got Liverpool to win the Premier League. However, after watching them play at Anfield, watching them play at Arsenal, I think Arsenal will come very close. He's right. Ali McCoy, actually. He might not always agree with everything Ali McCoy says, but for me, he's probably one of the most fair and unbiased football commentators in the world. He doesn't really hold grudges. He enjoys good football. If he gets something wrong, he'll change his mind on air and say, actually, I've changed my mind on that. You know, he's fair on most of the sort of VAR decisions as well. He's very, very good. And he's right on this. Liverpool can be your favourites, but the idea that Arsenal can't win it, I think it's crazy. I think absolutely crazy. This is one of the best squads Arsenal have had in the Premier League era. It truly one of the best. And it's got the opportunity, it's got the ability to win major trophies this year. And the expectation on Arteta is to get it over the line because the squad's good enough. The squad is good enough to win trophies. I think there's no doubt about it. And yes, I will say it, Sean. Arsenal are scary. It's as simple and as straightforward as that. They are. I'm certainly scared of playing them. You might not be, but I am. This is from Roland says, look at Mosquera, then you think back to guys like Rob Holding. Damn, it's been a roller coaster. I think you're right to say that. Reaper here says, also very impressed with Madueke again today. Looked really dangerous and had his defenders on toast for most of the game. Needs a little more end product, but he looks really promising. He does. I just don't think I don't think you can deny it. I don't think you can deny that. I think Nottingham Forest. You think Nottingham Forest can handle Europe? Lots of injuries. Listen, they're my hot take. They're my outside chance, but they're worth a bet on going down. I wouldn't. I'll be honest with you. If I'm touching wood, nothing bad happens to me when I say this. But if I fell asleep today, but then woke up at the end of May, you know, oh my God, what happened? What happened? First question would be, how did United get on? Second question would be, how are my kids? Third question is, how's the dog? Right. Fourth question is, did Forest go down? Because I wouldn't be surprised if they got relegated. It wouldn't shock me. Now, there may be other teams that are just worse than them, but you saw today, they weren't playing in a cavalier way, but they were a little bit in between. Were they defensive? They didn't really counter very well. I think they didn't know what they wanted to be today. And that'll be because Anne's just in a couple of training sessions will already be pumping new information into them. And maybe they adapt really quickly and it works. I worry for them this season. For me, they're definitely finishing from 14th and lower with European football as well. Where is Hussam and Don, who said FN Nottingham Forest would win? Yeah, I thought that. I don't remember Don saying that. Maybe I just missed it. But yeah, I thought that was crazy takes. I couldn't see as I said, maybe if they caught Arsenal cold early in the game, there was half an opportunity. But genuinely, I couldn't see a world. I couldn't see a world where that was plausible or doable. I couldn't see a world where that happened at all. I couldn't see a world where that happened. What did someone say about the league table on the screen? Is it not updated? Is it not? It should really update and put. It should. I can't control it. It's done automated on via a website. But yeah, Arsenal should actually sit on top there. So apologies for that. But they are. I just looked at the Premier Leagues. Arsenal are top because their goal difference is better. That's all. The scary stat with Arsenal there is only 1 goal conceded in 4 games, and they've gone away to home at Old Trafford and Liverpool. Just 1 goal conceded. Up next is City as well. I think they'll beat City. Could they get another clean sheet? Those first 5 games are looked at as hell. And I remember saying this to you, Gooners, right here on the terrace. I get got City, got Liverpool, got United in the first 5 games. Forest, who were a threat last year. Newly promoted team, Champions League football to contend with. But the brilliant thing about a hard start is if you walk away from it close to maximum points, you then know that you're going to get not an easy run of games because there's no easy matches in the Prem, but you get a more favourable group of games. That can give you a really good foundation to grow from over the course of the season. And I think Arsenal are going to come out with 4 wins from 5 in their opening 5 games. Arteta on Odegaard says it is the same shoulder that he has, so he had to come off. We will do whatever we can from now until the Champions League to make it. But for now, I don't know. Yeah, look, I just don't think you've got to rush. Look, the beauty of having this thick, overall healthy squad is you don't need to rush him back. Don't rush him back, and then he falls again and it goes. You've got Waneri that can play in that position. You could bring Martinelli back into the team and put Eze more central, as an example. You might go with Moreno and Rice in the central areas. There's loads of options, and I think you'll win midweek as well. I wouldn't rush him back. That's my personal opinion. I wouldn't do that. Hilarious how this is about Arsenal and rival fans are coming in here showing their asses and throwing mini emoji tantrums at Arsenal fans. Look, people just lie to rivals about Arsenal all the time, and people start believing it because they want to believe it. But it's crazy. Like, just live in reality. Arsenal were always going to be a good team this season. They were a good team last year when they had a sort of a squad that had holes in it. The idea they were going to suddenly be a worse team after bringing in Gyökeres and Eze and Madueke and Zubimendi and Norgard, Hankupe, the idea that it didn't make sense because there's not been a single report that the dressing room is bored of Arteta, doesn't like Arteta. if that was being reported, maybe there was no indicator, there was no scenario that made sense to talk about Arsenal dropping off, not after buying who they bought as well. It didn't make any sense to me personally. I still have Arsenal as my favourites to win the league, but that doesn't mean you write, Liverpool to win the league, but it doesn't mean you write Arsenal off. And a lot of rivals, I've listened to people write Arsenal off and go, yeah, I believe in that. No, you want that to be true. So you've sort of created that reality, that fantasy in your mind, and you're watching them play and you're going, oh, bloody hell. And they haven't even hit top gear yet. They haven't hit top gear. Just stop living in cuckoo land. You'll enjoy football more. The only fans that don't like Arteta are online, it seems. All match-going fans love him. Look, there are match-going fans that criticize him. There's no doubt about that because I've seen it. But I think people understand. I think if he doesn't win a trophy this year, I think even the guys that love him will say, thank you for getting Arsenal to this point. We need someone else now. There are no excuses for Arteta not to win. But the difference is you can tell the people that respect him. The ones who despise him, they act like... I've actually seen Arsenal fans online this last couple of weeks over the international break talk about how Arsenal weren't even in that bad a position when he took over the club. As in squad, quality of the team, the infrastructure. They're rewriting history. By the way, these are the same fans protesting and moaning about how bad the club was run back then. It's radio rental watching them rewrite history. That's what's crazy. That's what's crazy. No team has hit top gear yet. That's a very good point, Tina Murphy. It's a very, very good point. Nobody has yet. They haven't. However, we know what Arsenal are capable of. And today in Leeds was a sign of that. Very good moments against Liverpool was a sign of that. The only game where they didn't really get going at all for 90 minutes, other than defensively, was against Man United. But again, that was also the opening game of the season at a ground they historically don't win at, and they won. So yeah, it's. I think Arsenal fans have very little to be concerned about at this particular juncture. Right, I'm going to bring on the panel now to have their say on the show. We've got Egak, we've got Anton, we have Cal, Shannon, we've got Newcastle fan Ash backstage as well. I did change my OBS overlays a little bit earlier. I don't know which one I need now, and I'm going to probably make this look all arse about tit, as my dad would say. But let's bring the panel out now to have this. So am I going to do this right? Oh, yeah, I have. There we go. It's worked. I done it. There we go. We got everyone out. Boom, 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 boom. Welcome back to the show. Congratulations to the Gooners on the panel. I'm going to go to you first, Egak. A emphatic win, 3-0, dominant. New players scoring. Madueke on fire. Talk to me, bro.
What on earth have Chelsea sold us? Honestly, I have no idea. How I've not seen him perform like that in a Chelsea shirt. If a Chelsea fan has ever seen that kind of performance from him, please do tell me. I thought that was a great team win. I thought Nani Madueke impressed me the most in that game, outside of course, Zubimendi's brace, which also the technique for the Zubimendi goal was impressive. The header for the second goal, Trossard came on, also got set up the assist. I thought Madueke ran the show to start that game, and I just wanted to start off by giving him all the props. People were speaking about the midfield versus Liverpool. Well, Arteta changed it up again this game. We went with the Sociedad midfield, and in 30 minutes, Odegaard got injured. Another injury on the file, but it didn't matter because we have the squad depth now. I felt like Saka wasn't in this game, Saliba was in this game, Odegaard was in here, Havertz was in here, and I did not feel fazed by it at all. In the past, if we're missing that many players, we're crippled. It doesn't matter that we're facing Forest at home. We would still struggle. We did not look like we struggled at all. And that is just showing that the squad has gone to another level. And, I always have more than one talking point, but where are the haters? Where's David talking about XG? The XG file is always on here talking about XG and all this other stuff. As Tobes would say, you guys had us 5th on XG coming into this week. We've now jumped to 3rd. Let's see how many teams will jump us by the end of this week. I always said it's a slow burner. We played Old Trafford. We played at Liverpool. Did you expect us to have 7 XG? But off the back of those off the back of those difficult of games, and yeah, where the other people who are talking about Gyökeres, 3 goals in 3 games, tied for top of the league. I know Haaland hasn't played. I know these other guys haven't played yet, but you guys keep talking about players 3 games into the season. I think you did a video with Don and Staffy the other day, and I jumped on. I was simply saying, you guys need to calm down. We haven't played with Eze yet. We haven't played with some of these players yet. He hasn't had many games of sample size for you guys to see. And today, Eze gave him service. Eze is the first Arsenal signing that's an English player to come in and score or assist off the back of his first chance he ever created. The only other player who even contributed to a goal in his first appearance for Arsenal coming in was Oxlade-Chamberlain. So Eze is coming in and instantly showing he has impact. And shout out to Andrea Berta, shout out to Mikel Arteta. Every single one of the signings you signed, Mascara, Zubimendi, Odegaard, Mascara, Zubimendi, Gyökeres, Madueke, and Eze all contributed massively to this game. 5 signings, 5 W's. All of them. So yeah, that's all I gotta say. I'm happy, man. I'm happy. And if anybody is miserable after a game like today, check yourself out.
I agree with you on the statistics side of things, because I spoke about how good United stats looked, and people go, too early. And I said, look, Man United played a team that's probably in the relegation battle, a mid-table team, and Arsenal a title contending team. It gives you a good idea and balance. Some other teams are like you played at 2 grounds away from home that you notoriously don't win at, and you played a newly promoted side. So yeah, your kind of XG stats and your entries into the box are probably going to be a little lower because of the 2 away games you've had. Some people have played 2 or 3 of the relegation fodder teams early, so their stats might be a little higher. This is the issue when you have these conversations. You've got to be open and balanced and look at who people have played and where they've played them as well. I think that's a really important factor in this. And the idea that Arsenal were going to sort of not create chances, not score goals, not be deadly in games this season because they got nullified at Liverpool, that logic didn't make any sense whatsoever. It's like if a fighter gets in the ring with John Jones and gets beat by him. We saw this, a great example recently. We all saw Duplessis when he fought Chimaev. Duplessis is a world-class fighter. Chimaev is just special. That doesn't suddenly mean that Duplessis can't ever win a fight again, won't win the belt again because he lost that fight the way he did. We do that in football now as well. See, that game there is proof. It was kind of weird to me.
Also, going back to the transfer window, people were saying Eze can't play on the left. Nani is a terrible signing, which I put my hand up. But one more thing is, I got abused for saying Christian Mascara was a great signing for 13 million. I couldn't believe that. And now looking back at it, those people all look like idiots. Some of those people even said they watch La Liga on a regular basis. you clearly don't.
Well, again, I don't watch La Liga on a regular basis, but what I do know is everything I read about him, and I'm talking about like in-depth scouting reports, media reports from Spain, not once he was linked to you. I never make that mistake of reading something after they're linked to a club, because newspapers, they gas. Have you noticed? You've never seen, by the way, the newspapers or the big sorts of tactico accounts they'll never do Mbumo to United and make it sound like it's going to be bad. Everything's how it's going to be perfect. That's why it's important to read those things prior. And everything I read about Mascara was so positive. And the last game and a half, just fantastic. Genuinely fantastic. Fantastic.
Cal, 1 second.
Sorry, go on, Ash. Ash is a Newcastle fan, ladies and gentlemen. What are you saying?
Gal said something interesting. He said, obviously, that Noni, people were saying that he's going to be a flop, and you're saying he isn't. What have you seen that means he's not going to be? Because, granted, he's played good on the right. No, don't put that face, Anton, because
you've been doing this. You did this on the show the other day, Ash.
Guys. Let him finish his question, then we can answer it. Go on.
Because the reason is when Saka comes back, he's going to be on the bench. To be able to be playing good, you need to have a good run of games and form. If he comes back, Saka comes in on the right, he goes on the bench, he doesn't get consistency, and then he might end up going back to the level that he had at Chelsea.
All right. Great teams have multiple players that are on the bench that can come on and make a difference and win them league titles, win them trophies, win them games. And in the past, when we look over to our bench, we're depending on kids, or we're depending on players that are not of the same caliber of some of the players we have as starters. This is a guy who started for Chelsea last year, started for them in multiple games, and was already showing a certain level in the Premier League. He's coming to Arsenal side, and he's a backup to one of the best right wingers in the league. I don't expect him to come and take Saka's spot, but what he does is he pushes the rest of the team's competition levels higher. He forces Saka to continue to perform at a high level. He also then pushes Eze or whoever's on the left side for his spot. And when we do need to get a player to come off the bench, or when we do have injuries, we don't necessarily miss our best players because we now have somebody of a serious caliber. And I know you're a Newcastle fan, you might not have the same level of squad depth as Man City yet, but when you do have that level of squad depth like we do now, you will really appreciate it, because right now we don't miss Saliba, we don't miss Saka, and years gone past, we would definitely miss them because we would be looking at lower quality of player coming in and not even being able to replicate close to what we want from them in the past. And if he does go to the bench, guess what? He now is coming on against tired legs. I even expect him to do better off the bench sometimes.
Also, the cup competitions, we need him for the cup competitions. I think one of the biggest reasons why we haven't been winning any trophies is every time Arteta tries to play the bench for the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup, they lose. Like we've had such a shit bench for such a long time. So there's a lot of games to be played, and Madueke is he's gonna have opportunities to play. And he knew what he was getting into when he signed up for Arsenal. He knew he wasn't gonna come here and take Saka's place. So I don't think that's ever going to be a problem. And I'll be the first to put my hands up and said, it looks like I was pretty wrong about him, because I didn't want him at the club at all. And he's looking absolutely fantastic. I didn't see this. And it's really nice to have a player like him on the team where Saka's injured and I don't feel afraid of what's going to happen next, because we didn't miss him today, because Madueke has been great, and he's also taking corners, like really good corners as well. So yeah, I think a couple more of these and I'm gonna have to put out an apology video. To be honest,
you know what's interesting as well, though, right? Like, I didn't feel this way because I'm not an Arsenal fan, but I do get the knee-jerk reaction from Gooners in the sense of the amount of times you bought from Chelsea and it hasn't worked. I do kind of get, like, Shannon, how are you feeling about Madueke? Just before we get into the game, let's just stand Madueke for a moment. Like, how do you feel about him? Do you feel as though, actually looking at it now, this is really going to work?
Bro, I'm going to be honest with you. I've had group chat discussions since the minute we were linked to him. I've always backed the signing because I looked at the underlying numbers. I'm one of those guys. I'm quite analytical. I'll look at the numbers. And Nani is a 1v1 specialist, something that we really struggled with on our wings, both left and right. You know, yes, Saka is able to beat his man, but most times he's getting 2 or 3 players on him, and our left-hand side has been quite weak. I think Nani he's a refreshing kind of winger. He's different to the mold we have. You know, his whole game is based on taking players on, something we've really struggled with. And I think it's the Chelsea PTSD. It's the fact that he came after we signed Raheem Sterling. So everyone is literally associating that signing with Raheem Sterling in their head, thinking, listen, you're going to Chelsea, you're getting another reject. But at the end of the day, guys, I think, like you said earlier, Terry, we're too quick to judge transfers like immediately, or to judge players immediately. Oh no, he's not going to work out with this, that, and the other. I'm not even going to say that Nani's going to go on to be a great player for Arsenal this season. It's only 3 games in. Or 4 games in. Let's give it some time. But what I do think is that the underlying numbers are there. Whether or not he kicks on from that and continues this form is another question. But as for an overall squad depth option and a rotational option, I'm more than happy with it. I mean, he's an England international at the end of the day. I think we can't. I don't think Arsenal fans are used to this luxury, and that's why there's this discourse. Like, you're allowed to have 2 players that are good in multiple positions or in the same position. You don't have to have one starter. You can have 2 guys. And I mentioned 2 guys in my group chat earlier. I said, for example, we brought on Trossard in the last 20 minutes. He got an assist. How nice is that? Those are not your starting wingers, but they impact.
He should have scored.
You're right, bro. He had that chance. He should have taken on his left. But that's exactly the caliber of depth we need to compete with the likes of City and Liverpool and Bayern Munich and Real Madrid and Barcelona. We were said in 2006, we moved into the Emirates to compete with those kind of clubs. It's taken us almost 20 years to get to that point, but you're not going to see me turning my nose up to squad depth and quality squad depth in that fact. So, yeah, in terms of Nani, I'm happy. I'll let you carry on, T.
I'll echo what he said, and I'll take it one level higher. I said we currently have the best squad depth in the Premier League out of every squad. When it comes to defensively, we have a better squad depth than what do you call it? Liverpool. When you look at their attack, yeah, maybe they have better attacking quality, but squad depth across the whole league, when it comes to every single area of the pitch. I think we got more areas covered and more solutions than other teams. And I don't think that's an insult to their level of their quality of their team. I'm just simply saying, you look over Liverpool, they have a defensive issue. You look over City, they have a right back issue. You look at Chelsea, they don't trust their goalkeeper. I'm looking at Arsenal.
I don't think your claim is crazy. I don't think your claim is crazy. I think it needs to be proven. But games like today's where you see it, that you looked again. If you I don't know how to word this without trying to sound offensive, because you couldn't see it if you were blind. But if you didn't know, right, if the players' faces were blurred, you wouldn't have known that wasn't Saliba playing. Is the point I'm making. Gyökeres is an improvement on. I don't know where that's feedback's. Gyökeres is such an improvement overall for me on Kai Havertz. And I wanted to throw this to Anton, because it's part of the squad depth element. Today was a game where you actually, probably for the first time in the first 4 matches, created a gilt-edged chance for Gyökeres, and he buries it. And there's been a lot of criticism for him since the Liverpool game. How did you feel he played overall today, Victor Gyökeres?
Well, actually, similarly enough, I don't know what sort of what broadcast you see, but I got to see Alan Shearer at halftime break down Victor Gyökeres, and he did it absolutely brilliant. I think Cal watched the same thing.
Yeah, but I don't watch the halftime stuff.
Oh, you don't watch that? Okay. But what he was pointing out, which was really, really interesting, was the amount of times that he actually gets into the right areas. Like, we're all here sitting here praising Madueke, but one criticism I would have of Madueke is that he holds on to the ball too much. He does too much with the ball. So when you see, like, what it's funny because Shearer said this. He goes, if only somebody can be more decisive in finding him and like make the pass quicker, like on their first touch, he's going to score goals at a more efficient rate. And literally the first thing that happens at the beginning of the second half, Ange goes back to his high line, which was predictable. One ball at the top, Eze, one pass to the side, bang. And it was decisive, it was quick. And one thing that was very, very obvious to me and about this match in particular is that in the first half, it was obvious that we had a bunch of players, especially in the attacking areas, that had never played with each other before. And they spent the first 45 minutes trying to figure out each other. And by the time the second half came, all of a sudden, like, Eze is looking comfortable in an Arsenal shirt. Gyökeres is looking comfortable in an Arsenal shirt. And it's Madueke already was feeling comfortable at the start. Zubimendi is looking comfortable in an Arsenal shirt. And it just started to click. And this is the point that I've been trying to drive home on every single show I've been on with you, Terry, especially with Cal on our podcasts. So for everybody who was just talking bullshit, and I'm gonna say after the Liverpool game about how Arsenal looked like Stoke, and I kept pushing back on that and be like, you do not have enough of a sample size. Andrea Berta's Arsenal has yet to really touch the pitch. And and I said, followed that up, and I said this on my podcast with Cal the other day, even once they do, it's going to take them time to gel. Luckily for us, it took us 45 minutes. And then you see the product of what it looks like on the other end. By the way, I love sharing a podcast with Egak because like I have not much to say because he literally said everything that was in my brain, like which is fantastic. But I actually want to take it a step further. I think that Arsenal have the best depth of any side in Europe. And it like City, when they're fully healthy, I think is up there. Let's be honest at the moment, like they're missing about 10, 12 players. But I still think they're second behind us. Like I don't even think Madrid or like Bayern Munich, who historically have good depth, have as good of a squad depth as Arsenal. Like, think about it. Max Dowman is your third string right winger, and he comes on and impacts games. Leandro Trossard, this is basically his first real appearance. I mean, he appeared against Leeds, but he comes off the bench. One touch is an assist. Like, this Arsenal team, like I've sat back listening to just way too much just false narratives over the past week or two since the international break started. And I've counted down the hours to play this game, not because it's Nottingham Forest, but just so that we can illustrate to you that Arsenal is not going to be Stoke this year. For anybody who thinks that and who has that narrative, throw it out now. Throw it out now because what Arsenal can do is beat you in so many different ways. So yes, we can beat you playing like Stoke, but we can also beat you playing like Barcelona. Like it's just
Anton, I can't do this, man. I'm sorry. You're
by the way, now that Ash is rebutting, by the way, you still think that Zubimendi isn't as good as any of your midfielders?
But again, this is we need to talk about this because we need to go into this, right? You're talking like you guys have just demolished Liverpool or something. It was technically, I don't know what that is. It was technically a 1-0 win, is how I see it. I'm not sure whose mic that is.
So yeah, I think it was coming from Shannon. Yeah, Shannon. Yeah, I'm gonna mute you. It's coming from you. Sorry, my friend. Yeah, so back to you. Ash. Back to you. Ash.
Right. So how I saw today's game was a 1-0 win because Zubimendi scored 2 goals. He does not score goals, right? Obviously, you can't take it away.
Wait, did you just take away our goals?
I said you can't take away the 3-0, but I'm saying on a normal game, Zubimendi will not be scoring goals. Like this, that's his whole game. What do you mean? He scored like 19 goals in like 300 games.
Yeah, different system.
So okay. So tell me, how many goals is Zubimendi going to score this season then?
You can't take away goals that we scored.
No, I'm not. I'm saying
Madueke created like 5 big chances. Like, what are we doing?
Came from it.
So you're not. So the big chances don't count.
That. No,
but
that's not what
and the goals don't really count.
No, you're
so
changing what I said. You're changing what I said. I said
it was technically 1-0 because Zubimendi never scores goals.
I said it was a 3-0. I said I was looking at this like it's a 1-0 because Zubimendi doesn't normally score goals, so he's not going to score goals in the future.
All right. Let me flip it. So basically,
explain, bro. We won 3-0. You're saying technically we didn't do this, didn't do that. There's 3 goals that went in. If Zubimendi doesn't score another goal this season,
guys, you're changing what I said.
Guys, let me just jump in for a sec. Shan, we're getting a lot of feedback from your line, my friend. It's like sort of robotic, man. I'm very sorry. Gal, let me go to you, please. Sorry, Shan.
I just think this is the kind of stuff people would say. Last week, if you look at Szoboszlai's goal, but nobody would say that. Nobody would give Arsenal the benefit of the doubt and say, yeah, you lost. Doesn't matter how you lost.
Everyone said the goal was a free goal.
No. So Zubimendi's goal was a free goal. Like, what are you saying?
One second. Zubimendi's goal technique was amazing, and he's not going to score many goals like that. Fair play. But when it comes to the header, bro, we were creating so many chances. We were bound to score. This is not a game where we didn't create many chances. We created so many chances that we went from 19th in XG to this game alone, jumping to 3rd. So I'm not saying
you're not saying that when no one else has played.
No.
It's like when you said Gyökeres is the top goal scorer. Arsenal's the only team that's played 4 games.
I'm just giving you a fact. It doesn't matter about the context around it. I'm just giving you the fact.
Your context does matter.
Okay, so let's go back to the main point. Let's go back to the main point. I'm not going to sit here and argue that we scored these many goals. This is the real quiz. We were creating so many chances. We were creating so many chances in that game. We were bound to score another two goals in that game.
By the way, to underline your point, Egak, 35 touches in opposition box.
Yeah, and Nottingham Forest did not threaten us at all. So for you to sit here and say, it's a 1-0.
Right. No. So, this is what I'm saying this is where I feel like you're not listening to what I'm saying. I'm saying how I'm looking at this game. I'm not taking away Zubimendi's goals. I'm not taking it away from it being a 3-0. What I'm saying is how I'm looking at it for Arsenal is like it's a 1-0 because Zubimendi doesn't score goals. So in a future game that's similar to this, Zubimendi probably would not have put 2 goals into the net. So how I'm seeing it is,
if we play like this, we somebody else the chances. Madueke creates it.
Argument.
This is very hypocritical. Very hypocritical.
In the future, what's the likelihood of us having no Havertz, no Saka, no Saliba, and no Odegaard? What's the chance?
Ash, by the way, you're 1-0 down to Wolves. No, you're not. I'm joking. I'm
not. I'm watching the game.
I'm gonna go, guys.
Well, I will say it. Like 90 seconds really did.
It's a silly argument to sit here and say, 2 of the goals are free goals, so they don't count. You could say that about majority of goals.
No one said that about Liverpool. No one said that.
I did it. This is what I'm saying is you're not taking what I'm saying. I didn't say it didn't count. I'm saying that how I'm taking this, how I'm looking at Arsenal, I'm saying how they are right now, if I take away Zubimendi's goals, because like I said, he wouldn't score in a similar game like that. Like he wouldn't. He's not a person who
Okay,
scores goals.
take away the goal. Is the performance good?
Like I said, I'm very surprised that Declan Rice didn't start and you guys looked as good as you did. You looked very good. I've said this.
Fair. I'm gonna go.
If I may ask, bro.
Cheers, bro. Go on, Chan. And then I'm gonna go to Samuel.
I actually just want. I'm just want to understand like the argument here is that you said that Arsenal played well. You think we played well, but you see it as a 1-0 win because Zubimendi didn't score.
Because Anton said that you guys.
I cut out earlier. That's why I didn't hear your initial point.
Basically, the reason why I'm trying to bring this up is because Anton said before that you guys have currently got the best squad in the whole of Europe.
That's depth. That's best depth. You have to be like, it's not squad depth and talent are two separate things. So there's some teams that are top heavy, have got some of the best players in the world, but and they're probably more talented than Arsenal. But Arsenal have more players in reserve where they can have more options. That is what I'm trying to say.
So that doesn't mean anything.
And I also think if you think about this,
what do you mean it doesn't mean it? It does mean something.
Guys. It doesn't. If we had,
we have.
If we,
go on.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. So my point is again the fact, just tying back to the squad depth thing, the fact that we didn't have about 6 starters in our team and still won comfortably shows you that if we had those starters, what's to say that the score wouldn't be 6-0? For example, that we what's to say that this is not even the this is not the my point is it's not the strongest Arsenal team that we have, but we still walked the park with Forest. They had nothing. This is us with some of our entire spine of the team out. Havertz, Saka, Odegaard, Rice, Saliba didn't start.
I look at it as well. Look, I do get where you're coming from, but I'm not against XG. I think XG shows something. But actually, something I realized is that all the great teams that we love have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 multi players in it who can score those like low XG chances. You know, when Gyökeres hit the post, great hold-up play, run across the front of the box, played it into Noni, and then got the ball back, shot, and hit the post.
Yeah, that
will probably get you about 0.8 on XG. But do you know what? He nearly scored, and he will score goals like that. Harry Kane's and Haaland's and Mbappe's and Vinicius Junior's and Salah's and Torres's, Van Nistelrooy's, Rooney's, they score so many of those goals. And I don't think we can just judge a team based on, well, you scored 3 goals today, but 2 of them are really good, therefore they can't count. Fair enough, Zubimendi may not score that screamer every week.
Somebody else might.
But Arsenal have 3 or 4 players, 5 players in their squad now that are going to score goals from very little. And that's the difference between teams that come 3rd to 7th and teams that win league titles, is you just have those. How many games has Mo Salah over the years, Samuel, where you guys, it's been quite a close game, but he gets that ball, drops a shoulder and bends it into the far top corner and you win a football match, or it gives you that little bit of daylight, the team opens up more, you score the 3rd goal. That's what Arsenal were missing last year. Arsenal last season, 1-0 up in so many games, 2-0 up sometimes, couldn't kill it off, had no one that could score those harder chances, and then they concede a goal and they drop points. And it wasn't really the performance overall that there were times where it was drab and it was slow. I'm not going to rewrite history, but those performances are fine when you've got players doing what Noni did today, doing what we know Eze can do, doing what Gyökeres is going to do. Saka's going to come back into this team. I don't think we can. I can't write them off because I saw my club win multiple league titles because we had players that would score half chances and from nothing. I can't suddenly start rewriting footballing history. By the way, if you take away hard goals and chances from nothing, Real Madrid might not have won anything in the last 10 years. Like the amount of games they won. Who scored for Newcastle, by the way?
Voltemada, and Seshko still hasn't scored.
That's actually really funny.
He's been in the Premier League for 30 minutes.
Hang on a minute, but he hasn't played yet this weekend, so you can't do that.
More goals than Isak.
Samuel, what are you here to say, bro? What are you here to say?
Right, there's 2 points that I need to argue, and the second point is for the idiots in the chat. But the first point, right, I'm not agreeing with, sorry, what's your name?
Ash.
Okay, I'm not agreeing with his point. Yeah. But it's very funny how you lot are arguing this point where 2 weeks ago, when Liverpool played Arsenal, and most of you Arsenal fans said, it was a 0-0 game. If Szoboszlai didn't do that wonder of a free kick, he's not gonna get that every game.
Right, but we gave you credit for that. We literally sit there and be like, "Wow, fair play, great goal. You guys deserve to win."
Anton,
Like that, none of us are denying that you guys won or deserve to win.
Anton, I really need to say why I was saying my point though about this, how I saw it being a 1-0. It wasn't even. Imagine that nearly flipping chest goal that Chris Wood scored, that David Raya did an absolute wonder save. If that went in and Zubimendi didn't score these goals, because like I said, he's not a goal scorer, then it would have been 1-1. And your entire view of that game would have changed.
That's just football, though. Like what?
So you're telling me if it was a 1-1 game,
if our goalkeeper, no, wait, hold up. What this narrative doesn't make any sense. If our goalkeeper didn't stop the goal, and if our goal scorers didn't score, we would have drawn the game. What? That's madness.
No, because I'm saying that I'm just looking at it.
We dominated them. This wasn't some sort of back and forth. They literally were like pinned.
Big Ange just joined, and they probably haven't even had a training day, or literally had one.
That wasn't your point. Your point was on a different day we wouldn't have won.
No, because how I saw the Arsenal into this game, I was expecting you guys to be like 5-0 up, clear-cut chances, not one goal that Gyökeres scored, and then 2 from a player who doesn't score.
But essentially,
so it only counts when you decide, when you think a player should score. So
again, what we're doing,
it only counts if Eze, Gyökeres, Madueke, and our forwards actually score. But if other players score goals, it really doesn't matter because they don't usually score.
In sense, I kind of get what you're saying in the sense of Zubimendi is not going to score those goals all the time. He's not going to be the one that you look to for goals. Cool, I get that point.
But that's not. But that's how we play though.
Let me land the point. But also, I disagree in that. If you're getting goals all over the park, like Arsenal have been doing with the defenders and stuff like that, you kind of expect not only their strikers to score. That's what I would say in point of Arsenal. Because they have been getting goals by Gabriel, Calafiori, Timber, and stuff, like people that you do not expect to score quite regularly.
I hear that. A few super chats here. AMT says, can clip this, but Bertha is our David Dean. He's done a very good job so far, no doubt. Abraham says screamer and a header doesn't count because he's a DM and doesn't need to be the goal scorer. It is a semantic argument, nothing more than pompous rhetoric. None of our top scorers scored. Flawed logic. Terry can never again ask why Arsenal get stick. It's not about getting stick again, but just because this is my view though, just because Anton makes a claim that many people will disagree with doesn't make it right that the mainstream media lie about Arsenal. Doesn't make it right that somewhere like TalkSport make up lies that and Jamie Carragher make up lies that the reason why Waneri and Miles Lewis-Skelly were changing in a different dressing room is because the manager's trying to keep them humble, because they maybe not be humble boys when it was about their age. So I'm still going to call things out irrespective to what Anton says. That's crazy to me. Wasn't an issue with Noni's end product, not skill, but there was end product today. Created 5 chances in the game. His crosses into the box were dangerous, and I actually think some of his final balls actually weren't as bad as there was a great skill he did where he got to the touchline and cut it back. There was just some good defending that cleared the balls as well, and that's why, like, yes, he only had 28%, I think 28% cross accuracy today from 14 crosses, but that's actually because I think 7 of those crosses were cleared by headers, but the balls were into the right areas. But if the defender's positioning is right, theoretically, if a defender's positioning is correct, most crosses should be cleared, which means most crosses shouldn't be accurate from a winger. So I don't just judge it on the stat. I judge it, where was that? The inaccurate crosses I worry about are the ones that hit the first man or that get kicked and go straight out for a goal kick or go out for a throw-in. That, for me, is a properly inaccurate cross. If they go into the danger area, but a defender heads it away, I don't blame the crosser. I didn't think I ever had to explain that, but that maybe we do in 2025. I don't really know. Congrats, Gal. My prediction was wrong. I hear you on there. Listen, I want to... another super chat.
I was going to quickly...
Go on.
I was going to quickly just go on a point that my man made about the squad depth. Because there was something that he said that I said, wait, so squad depth doesn't matter? because you broke it down to some teams have squad, some teams have talent, and I forgot the first thing that you said, right? So if it comes down to squad depth, and you got all the guys that you to replace guys that are important to you that are injured, and you play a game and you lose that game because of the quality, why does squad depth matter?
I mean, that's just football. We can have our best 11 out there and still lose a game sometimes. Like sometimes you have good games, sometimes you have bad games. Like
not really.
I mean, what scenario are we talking about? Like, how many players are out for Arsenal? Like, what? Like, if we're talking about your entire second 11 are playing out there, and we lose to a team who got their first 11 out there, then obviously the point is moot. But I'm not expecting that to be a scenario. Like, we're going to get that bad. We're missing all 11 of our first choice players. Like,
sorry, I'm a bit delayed, but basically, I'm talking about basically last season when you had those players out for how many months.
We have those same players out today. They illustrate my point, right? So, like, most of those players that were out for ages last year were also out today. And you see the difference because of the signings that we made. Like, all of the scorers today were new signings. And I conclude, by the way, Eze, who got an assist in that one today as well for Gyökeres' goal. So, like, that's the sort of thing that Arsenal have. So I heard somebody say on one podcast, I completely forget, so I apologize to whoever that is out there. But they're saying that the winner of this year's Premier League might not necessarily has the most talent, but who is able to survive the 38-game schedule and pick up the least injuries, manage to stay the most healthy. And the amazing advantage that we have now is that even if we're not the most healthy, we have enough depth in the squad, players who can cover those positions to make up for that.
So you're talking about depth and talent. Are you talking about depth and talent?
Yeah. The depth. No. It's not just bodies. Like the talent that we have in the squad has raised substantially. We're bringing on Martinelli and Trossard to rest Eze and Madueke. Those guys were starting last season. So.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think I agree with Anton in terms of it's the best squad depth in Europe, but I don't think anyone in Europe has substantially better squad depth than Arsenal. So I don't think there's any club where you go clear of what Arsenal have got. They're up there with everybody.
To be fair, I'm saying that a little bit blindly because I'm not looking detailed.
I've got a few super chats. I'm just running out a little bit of time. Sorry, Ola here says, I said stick, Terry, not liars. Don't twist it now. But I don't call anyone out for giving Arsenal stick. I call people out for spreading lies or talking about things in football that don't exist. So, like, you come saying now Terry can't call out why Arsenal get stick. I never call out anyone who gives Egak a bit of banter. What I will call out is people that lie about Egak or say nasty things about him or twist things. So, yeah, I mean, either way. Arsenal goals now only count if Gyökeres taps them in from 5 yards out. Rivals back at it again. Crazy logic. Look, I want to thank everyone who's tuned into the show. Remember to go and check out NordVPN. You can go and watch the 3 p.m. games right now. If you've got NordVPN, all you've got to do once you've signed up for that is get Setanta Sports. You can get this by the App Store or by whatever it's called on Android, Google Play. Get yourself signed up for $3.99 a month. All you need is a little bit of NordVPN. So get signed up now. We'll give you a big discount on that as well if you use my link or my QR code that you can see just below Cal in the corner over there. But until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again soon. Peace.